Jordan, those don't look like the regular bottles that you drink from in Canada.
Yeah, these were leftover from a trip to Florida.
So you're drinking American freedom water. You scared about getting a little bit polluted?
Actually, I'm feeling a bit funny.
Oh, yeah? How so?
Yeah, I have an overwhelming desire to purchase a high-powered rifle. Vote Republican, need a quintuple bacon cheeseburger.
Works every time. Coming up on this LinuxGameCast Weekly, the Steam RPMs are back for Fedora, Euro Truck Simulator 2 is coming to Linux, Openparsec lives, and we talk about an open-source Linux-based handheld gaming device. And Jordan has an alter ego. Let's go. And welcome back to another LinuxGameCast Weekly, the show that covers the biggest stories in Linux gaming news. We also do some reviews, how-tos, all that fun stuff. And joining me, as always, Mr. Sveng. How's it going, man?
My anus is firing leftover Chinese food out at an extremely high velocity. It's very unpleasant.
Well, in some cultures, that is not unpleasant. It's actually respectable.
Oh, yes, in some cultures, but this is not one of them. This is one of the ones where it's a horrifically painful thing.
Well, since we're starting off with that, Jim, you did have some family bits to go tend to. That's why we're about an hour late
it was,
on the...
my grandfather's birthday today, so we went to this horrible Chinese buffet that he loves, so that was fun.
Now, this is opposed to the
then?
fantastic Chinese buffets that I don't think of ever... Is there such a thing as a fantastic...
They exist in the magical land of unicorns and fairies and wishes and blowjob robots.
Blowjob robots. Over here in L.G.C. land, our Athens office, not a whole lot's been going on. Tinkering around, got a ton of editing to do because we still have part 2 of our players with, what game did we do?
Killing Floor?
Part 2 of that's coming out last night, over here in the chat room. Yeah, Wolfenstein, unaccounted for, joined me, and yeah, in a game of co-op, which was very fun. It's going to be a pain in the ass to edit all that together, but I think the results will be kind of fun. Looks neat.
Indeed.
I think everyone had a good time. So that's pretty much it, man. You just want to jump right into this business.
Yeah, let's jump into it.
Because there's that one thing we do every week. And it's not beating a dead horse, is it?
Whether you like it or not.
It's the
Steam
Linux
update
of the
week.
Eek. Yeah, man. Where are we at? We have the XI3.
More talking about the Steam box today.
Yeah, is what it looks like, man. XI3, they talked about this at CES, and it was kind of hush, hush, wink, wink, say no more. They couldn't confirm that they were partnering with Steam exactly, but everyone pretty much knows that that's what's going on. The only thing, well, I guess first, Steam box.
What is the XI3?
What is it? It is a tiny, little, itsy-bitsy, teeny-weeny computer. It's actually kind of sexy looking, to be honest with you.
Yeah, the idea behind it was kind of interesting. It was a fully modular computer with a modular motherboard.
Now, I think that's kind of the cool bit, though, when you think about it, because it means you can upgrade it, right?
Yeah. I think... If Steam puts out an upgradable console, I think that's just going to floor some people.
Let's take a look at the video while we're talking about that. And
but
some of the speculations,
the specs this thing packs are pretty impressive, all things considered.
Yeah,
or supposedly packed.
If they come out with what they claim, is their high-end model, that's a quad-core 64-bit x86 CPU, 4 to 8 gig of RAM option, 3 display ports, and integrated graphics, which tells me that they're not going to be using Intel because only one company has on-the-die integrated graphics, and that's what we both use for our computers. That's AMD, right?
Yeah, except I think that sentence was a bit malformed. We use CPUs. We don't use APUs. Mind you, the APUs are actually pretty solid. I was considering building a home theater PC with one of those. Unfortunately, that would mean I'd have to get the FGLRX drivers working under Fedora, and that doesn't. So, and that honestly sounds a lot worse than, say, getting a root canal or something like that.
No, I would take several root canals over that, because I had this harebrained idea, like maybe in 2006, 2007, because I heard all these horror stories, and I said, people are just idiots. They can't get the ATI cards. It was ATI back in this, before the purchase, up and running, and it took me a week before I finally had a working solution, and I really wanted to Jimi Hendrix Flame, that stupid card, after that, and I never used it again. It was just
actually unaccounted for. One of our loyal chat room members, our chat room cronies, is running an AMD video card at the moment.
Yeah,
he mentioned that during the Wolfenstein gameplay capture thingy mabob.
So that worked out. He says he's using an AMD C30 APU, can play Amnesia on high, and you really don't want to be high playing that game. But back to the Steam box, back to this. If this comes out in its current configuration, this is kind of a sticker shock, man. That thing retails at $999.
Well, I mean, it's a gaming computer, I guess. Like you can build a fairly decent gaming PC for less than that. With that particular esoteric hardware, though, maybe not so much.
Yeah, maybe you can't make it look sexy and put it, but I don't know. I think
I think if this would actually be commercially viable as a platform for a Steam-based console, Valve would have to like heavily subsidize it.
And they're gonna have to do something, but I mean, it could take off. All it takes is putting this. You got to get that first pop collar bro to see how much better Game X, Call of Duty or whatnot, looks.
Well, my biggest fear is that this thing is going to suffer from like Atari Jaguar syndrome, where it's like better hardware, but arguably in the case of the Jaguar, but no one bought it.
You mean the two 32-bit processors that were claimed to be 64-bit? That one?
Yeah. Well, they tried.
They did. But hey, Valve is doing awesome things. We got Steam on Linux, all that fun stuff. So I wish them the best of luck in this. What do we have up next for our Steam news?
Well, for those of you on Fedora who are not capable of unzipping an archive and extracting it to your root directory, the Steam RPMs are back. Spot, or Tom Calloway if you prefer, has said that he has asked Valve permission, and they have granted it to him to distribute Steam on Fedora via RPM, which is all nice.
But again, I think you got a very good point.
On this install, I installed it the hard way, but I mean, it's not even that hard. The biggest problem is tracking down the dependencies, and if you have a spec file for it, then you have all the packages already. But I digress. It's handy for those of us in the Fedora community who don't want to do all that hard work.
Yes, unaccounted for, you don't say.
Don't say.
Those are available at, where are they at? spot.fedorapeople.org/Steam, right? And that's where you can add that to your yum.d.
Yum.repos.d.
Cool beans, man.
Actually, I think it's just the RPMs. He got rid of the repo file. But anyways, and now we talked about this a couple weeks ago, and we had some complaints about it, but now it seems that it's implemented.
Now, yeah, that's right. Let's take a look at this little picture here. I'll have to embiggen it.
Embiggen.
And you can finally shave off 3, maybe 4 seconds of creating a symlink to your Steam directory to your spinning drive by using this. Now, I haven't had a chance to use this since I just symlink to right.
But I mean, in terms of a user accessibility thing, it's a good option. If you're going to get some of the bros on Linux, they're not going to know how to make symlinks.
Well, I think the important thing to point out is, this is so simple that even an Arch user could do it, man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's in. It's good. You were a bit upset that this wasn't included earlier, but
well, it's just like, why is this not here in Genesis? Because that was the first thing I did before I, slapped together 2 512 SSDs into a terabyte. I had a spinning disk and
RAID 0 for 0 chance of data recovery.
Metal. That's how I roll, bitch. In doing that, it was a no-brainer. And as you pointed out to me, the option was quasi there originally, right? But it just didn't.
Yeah, it was in the menus, but it wasn't implemented. So,
no doubt.
I guess it is now.
And that came from our favorite subreddit, Linux_gaming, where you can find
the underscore.
Stuff. The underscore. So that's going to wrap up our Steam news, right?
Oh yeah, seems that way.
Yeah.
But then there's some exciting news.
Like real news?
I got a question for you. When you were a kid, way back when you waltzed out of your mama's womb and then onto a school bus,
smoking a pipe, mind you, scared the piss out of the doctors.
Yeah. But when they managed to squeeze you in the back of the school bus and trucks were going by, did you ever stick your arm out the window and do the honk honk thing?
You actually had to ride the bus? You poor thing.
Yes, me, poor Canadian. But enough of that. Euro Truck Simulator is coming to Linux.
Finally, a long national nightmare is over. Everyone, we can rest happy. This is it, man. I mean, this is how you know Linux has made it, when we have Euro Truck Simulator up and running. And by the looks of it, it looks like they're doing the development on Ubuntu. Doesn't it? Yeah, we see that back there. Maybe... What is that? GNOME Classic.
You make fun. You make fun, but I still think the simulator market is huge. Have you seen the amount of DLC for Train Simulator?
Yes, I have. And
there's like $1,800 worth of it. I mean, that's a huge amount of money, and people buy these things too.
Well,
like simulator games are huge in Japan.
Everything's huge in Japan if you're not Japanese.
Oh,
zing!
Zing.
But what do they say, man? No, I mean, personally, I'm waiting on Sim Dictator. As soon as that comes up, I'm good with it.
Don't you mean Tropico?
That could actually be a very valid point. But what they do say, and this is from SCSSOFT, I'm not even going to try to do that. It'll be in our show notes, like everything else. Euro Truck Simulator 2 Linux port is almost finished. Very soon, we should be able to start beta testing.
Driving their trucks. Honk, honk.
Honk, honk. Or if you're a fan of Top Gear, this is, change gear, change gear, change gear. Murder a prostitute, adjust mirror, change gear, change gear. Three of you might get that.
But switching from rear world trucking to space trucking.
Space trucking, man. I wanted to show just a little bit of the simulation play before we get into that.
Let's go through. Let's see some truck driving on Linux.
That's what truckers listen to, by the way. I would have committed. Well,
Okay, that was pretty badass.
Yeah. All right.
Friggin' flaming skull in the back of the truck. Yeah. Sold. You just got one button to see it right there.
I guess that is pretty cool, man.
But yeah, from real world trucking to space trucking.
Space trucking, and this is old school. This just came out of literal nowhere. As I'm off to do, I'll cruise or peruse, whatever word you want to use there, SourceForge, and look at the new gaming projects, or just the last code commit, just to see what projects are active. And man, I'm not kidding. After, let me see here, 9 years from the original release, Openparsec is nearing. Come on, find the screen. Here we are.
There we are. You can check and we might as well give them a URL for that, openparsec.com and sourceforge.net/project/openparsec.
That's right, and this is a game I used to play back in 99, 2000. And it was only a network. I mean, there was no internet, but the concept, it's a straight-up deathmatch. We're looking at the video here. Space simulation game, but it had a very unique idea to handle servers, and they're Stargates. When you go into a Stargate, it's a new server. I mean, it's seamless. You just jump into a new server. And I always...
That's actually pretty cool.
I thought that was pretty cool. And you got to remember, back in, 99, 2000, when you saw that, nothing looked that good. Right, you wanted to go MacGyver on that full force. It's a bit dated. It is available. You can grab the code right now. There's still code commits, as late as the 11th of this month. But unfortunately, in order to
there's
play
a bit of a caveat.
Yeah.
You can build the game via SVN, but you need the original gameplay files from the Parsec. When did you say this was? In 2001?
Yeah, 2000. That's where the media is still kind of stuck. I was going to get to that. It looked awesome a decade ago, but it's a bit dated at this point. But you'll have to get that, and instructions are in the notes from the game. But we'll get the notes on there for all the links and how to extract those files and move them over. It's not difficult at all. It took 5 minutes to do. So, let's play some video games, man, but can we play them on our handheld devices? Maybe if, I had a phone that could play games, that would be cool, but that just sounds ridiculous.
Yeah, some sort of multi-core device with a couple of gigabytes of RAM that you can stuff in your pocket.
If only they would make those cheap and ubiquitous.
I know. Well, for until that day comes, there's the GCW-Zero at Kickstarter.com.
Ooh, fancy music.
Introducing the GCW-Zero, a retro gaming handheld built for gamers, by gamers. It features a full set of gaming controls.
Now it plays all the open source. Now, let's just go ahead and say this. Normally, we don't do Kickstarter anything on the show, but for rare occasions, a few things. This might not get funded, but they've already built the prototype, the initial runs, so it's a real-world product. Another thing is it runs Linux. It's not running, Dalvik, like our Android devices. So this is a real, Linux installation.
True Blue Linux.
Yeah, and
Open Dingus is what it's called, is the particular distribution.
Yeah, and they say that is supposed to be developer-friendly, which is pretty cool. And, it plays a lot of the classic games. If you look at the video there, you'll see that it is running Duke Nukem 3D, Descent, and all that. So, it's kind of neat. But
it's kind of neat. I feel it's a bit redundant, though, these days.
Oh, yeah, it has no chance of ever succeeding or doing anything, but, yeah, it's still neat, and I do like the neat. In order to get it...
It looks kind of cool. It looks like it was actually built using spare DS parts.
Yeah, it does have a very much of a, yeah, I feel that. And what do we have here in the chat room? Yeah, it does. It's no open Pandora. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't look like complete ass. Absolutely not an open Pandora box. But in order to get one, if you kick them 135 quid, you'll get that. But more importantly,
if your drinking habit demands only the finest, classiest pint glasses,
for $5,000, you can get 6 etched pint glasses. Oh, and they also do some other stuff, but you get the pint glasses. That's not a bad deal.
That's the real important part.
Yeah, that's what you should be shooting for, man. So let's round out this news with, this is not really our normal PSA, but it is something that we need to make a note because
it's very important to them.
Well, I don't want any more emails. Patrick Belus, fellow Canadian, Canuck. And
from Canuckistan.
I love the guy. I've talked to him several times. Man, you got to change that picture. It's creeping me out, and that's saying a lot.
Oh, yeah, that's pretty bad.
Yeah. He says, hi all, after much consideration, I will stop the development of Webcam Studio. And if you don't know what Webcam Studio it is, it's a studio to do live streaming and all that. And the reason I think we've been getting a lot of mail is, no, we don't use Webcam Studio. I've used it once, and it's a fun tinker toy. It's not ready for production, trust me. We're doing a live stream. We're recording in 720p, and that's what we're putting out. Well, all the fun business. Webcam Studio was nowhere near being able to do that. We use our own in-house software to do what we're doing under Linux. So,
and what's it called then?
I'm going to rename the damn thing. I'm going to start calling it Jordan. How about that?
No, I don't want anything named after me.
Jordan it is.
Jordan it is.
But that update...
The country, the software, and the person.
Is at ws4gl.org.
Well, I guess in this case, just gentlemen.
Yeah, I guess we should point out it's, the code and all that's open. If you want to run with it, have at. And no, that's a good name right there. I like that on account of Jordan's. Maybe we could call it Jordash.
Jordash.
Yes.
That sounds like a Klingon name from Star Trek, to be honest.
Without the opera, man. Without the opera. Let's get into the games.
It's time to lose some eyes with our fun and games.
Lose some eyes, you say? What do you mean?
Well, how about some roller coasters?
Super great park. Now, let's just be honest with you. That sounds like a joke name that me and you might come up with. Right. It was like, let's make a joke game, and we're calling it, Happy Fun Time, right? This is released from the guys from Plea the Bear, which was, in all fairness, not a bad little platformer game. I mean, it looked great. It's been around for a long time, completely open source. The creators sent me and Jordan a press copy, or whatever you want to call it. We can take a look at the video. The object is to collect balloons, is the best I could take of it. Does that sound right, man?
No, I couldn't even play the game. It doesn't even run for me.
Well, I did manage to get it to run, but even in 1280 by 720, it ran really sluggishly. And so I kind of gave up on it because it should not be doing that on either of our systems.
I run it, it's like, well,
yeah,
that's it.
But you can check it out, and maybe you can get it to run, and it might be your boat. Thought I'd give them a mention since they did take the time to send us a copy. You can try it, so try before you buy on this. Definitely, I think we should say that on this game, right? Yeah,
it may be your thing if you can get it running. If it runs nice on your system, good on you. And that is from stuffomatic.com, stuff-o-matic, or stuff-o-matic /AG or ASGP. Whatever.
But maybe a little funner up next.
Subvane from subvane.net.
Tell them about this.
This is a weird little top-down shooter.
It reminded me a lot of the original GTA, kind of, maybe.
Yeah, like I dicked around I just created a private server and farted around with it just to see what the game played like, and it kind of reminds me of like old school Metal Gear with like GTA, or like or GTA 1 crossed with Counter-Strike or something like that. I actually think we should play it. We should do a L.G.C. players on this, but
we may definitely do a players on this one. But this is Subvane 0.73 is out. Clocks in at a very easy 23 megabytes.
Yeah, it took me no time at all to download.
So
I'm on the worst ISP in the world.
And, this brings new fog effects, dynamic map lighting, map decals, some updates in the netcode, and all that fun stuff, better performance. Played online, played it myself, had fun with it. Like Jordan said, it's something we should play in the future. I didn't have a chance to spend a lot of time with it, unfortunately. But
neither did I. It seems interesting.
It's completely
we will definitely
free,
get back
though.
to you with our more informed opinion.
Right, and that's at subvane.net. At 23 megabytes, just download it and try it. It's 100% free, and they keep pointing that out for some reason. So
it's cheap as free.
Free as in beer.
Indeed.
Now,
but
going from killing to WTFing, right?
Yeah. What the? This is a trippy little game. It's called Cairo. And you can find it at cairo.lockdoorpuzzle.com.
That's where it got trippy, right there. That part with the
Yeah. Did you get to the part where you like walk in the room and it looks like that ring platform from Stargate? Yeah, actually, if you cut back to the website, it's that purple picture with the rings. It's the second one from the left.
So it had like the Jaffa.
Yeah, it had like the Jaffa look, the gold transport rings.
Huh.
Except it didn't really do anything. It just led you to other puzzle rooms. The game definitely looks kind of neat. I spent about 15 minutes wandering around.
Advance.
Yeah, explore vast abandoned monuments. At first, I thought it would be like a Myst type game, but it's not. Or it kind of is, because you go from like place to place,
Myst on
puzzles.
that, man. But like the one thing I noticed, it goes from like some really nice looking, you can tell you spent some time on it, to like some Quake 1 looking areas. I'm like, why'd you just slap this together?
But
something you pointed out, man, is
like the system I ran this on is like AMD hex core with 16 gigs of RAM and a GTX 670 superclocked, and it runs like ass. It gets like,
I noticed that too, man.
That's a lie. It runs all right for a little bit, and then it gets incredibly choppy and virtually unplayable.
The biggest thing is it slows down where it has no business slowing down. It's not like anything's going on.
Weird.
So. But it's pretty, it's fun, and like you said, man, even over here, I'm running on an octo-core, and, I have a 560 Ti, but still, that should curb stomp a game like this, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We both have way more hardware than this game requires, and it doesn't really run up to par.
And yes, Ultimore, it is all about Stargate tonight.
Absolutely. If you don't like Stargate, you should be leaving right now.
Yeah, we're just going to start talking inside baseball Stargate. But did you say that's at Cairo lockdoorpuzzle.com, right?
Lockdoorpuzzle.com.
Yeah, give that a try, man, if that's your thing.
So, Ven, I have a confession I want to make.
Oh, man, is it about that thing?
See, what I do, the reason I was actually late today was I wasn't at dinner with my grandfather. I was running around the streets of Markham in spandex fighting crime. I have an alter ego.
Well, it's better than you trying to keep going back in time and killing Hitler, because we've shown that never works. But as Retro Souls has an alter ego, is that right?
Yes. Again, today is full of a lot of interesting little games.
Yeah.
This one's kind of cool though. I think it was actually designed for a phone, because the instructions seem to indicate dragging your finger across things. But basically the goal of the game is you have one character, and there's another character on the other side of the screen that mirrors your movements, and you have to collect all the little gem things on the level. And periodically you can swap places with the alter ego, and certain pieces only you can collect, and certain pieces only the alter ego can collect. It's interesting. But I mean, to be fair, you said it got hard pretty quick. I got bored with it in about 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's about what I played for. I could see it progressing, and I was like, okay, once you get the idea with the alter ego bit,
yeah,
then you can see the game mechanics of it. And it's incredibly small, too. This was like 7 megs to download it.
You know what? Check it out. It's a good time waster. It might be your thing.
And I think you have a very valid point. This would make an awesome little Android app. I mean, it's something to fire up. It's not something I want to sit here and play on a 27-inch monitor for extended periods of time. So check that out, man. Definitely. But this is something up next that we've mentioned before, right?
Yes. Relics of Anarath has an update. What's in the update? Well, let me pull that up.
All right. Well, how about I read it then, since I'm prepared?
You read it. I've mentioned on several occasions that I care very little for Relics of Anarath because it's an MMO.
And you have an irrational hatred of MMOs. We get it, man. We get it. They did bad things to you when you were young.
But according to their release notes, you can now comment news, security features, and password recovery. They have a new launcher. They have a new installer that's under GPL3. They added some new dungeons, a chat system, a starting outpost, some tweaks. Quite a lot of tweaks and a bunch of fixed bugs.
Yeah, and as we mentioned earlier, it looks gorgeous for what it is.
Oh yeah, it's a very pretty game.
Yeah, but there's one thing that I even tweeted the guys back because they were following us on Twitter, and they said, "Oh, it's announced," and I was like, "Neat, I'm going to go play it." Then I said, "No, I'm not. I can't play it." And do you know why I can't play it?
Why can't you play it then?
It's only available currently in 64-bit.
Yes, I've been saying this for a while. I think 32-bit support should be starting to go the way of the dodo.
Well, you know, when Steam is a 32-bit app, I'll just reiterate.
Yeah. So, waggle on.
That's the whole
waggle
thing.
On.
The 32-bit, hang on, with the client, for 32-bit client, they still had some bugs with it. I talked with the developers, and they will have that out later this week, in the next couple of days, probably Wednesday or Thursday, we'll be able to see and it's not just Linux, there's no 32-bit client for Windows as either. So that's available at, if you go, it's just anaroth-game.com, you'll find it. Or check back in our show notes. That's going to wrap up the news, man, right?
Why don't you take that wagging finger of yours and stick it in our mailbox?
Oh, let's check the mail. Who writes in? I mean, who politely says things? This one comes from the guys at Replay Games. Kevin, he writes in. He says, Replay Games is trying to get the word about 2 popular titles, but we're only covering 1. That is coming to Linux, and this one is, if you're an old fart like me, would remember Leisure Suit Larry, which was a point-and-click. Man, did that thing even run like on ScumVM or something like that?
I'm pretty sure it would run on ScumVM.
Yeah, and they've made their Kickstarter goal, and they are working on, you know, it's Lovable Loser and all that, getting it together on Steam. Greenlight, I believe. So that's cool. More games for Linux.
If you want it in the Steam store, go and vote for it on Greenlight.
Yeah, check it out, man. You might dig it. You might.
You might, if that's your deal. And Terry, we have a note from Terry.
What's he saying?
Who is responding to one of our episodes about Retro Booster. And he's
responding to you, actually.
He's responding to me. He's proposing a suggested solution to my gameplay issues. I have yet to give it a try just because I haven't had time, but I'll definitely poke at it this week.
And if you remember Retro Booster, it was made by the guy who left his job at NASA to make games.
NASA.
So that's just kind of cool. Yeah, and he says, you know, crashes like that boil down to video or audio backend trouble. But no, that's cool of him reaching out to us. I mean, I'm sure he will definitely help you get that up and running, man.
Absolutely. But thanks, Terry, for giving us some hints as to why it would be crashing.
No,
always appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, anybody ever wants to scream in our direction, just show at LinuxGameCast.com or just hit that submit button on the website. It goes directly to us. We both get a copy, and we can say disparaging remarks about your mother off the air, then we'll post it.
Indeed.
So this last bit comes from Alexander Zubo. Now, well, let me tell you, he uploaded some new footage of Steel Storm 2. If you remember Steel Storm Burning Retribution, have you ever played that one?
I had Burning Retribution once. Doctor gave me some cream and cleared up after a couple days.
Giggity. But that's up, and let's take a look at that. I mean, it doesn't look bad, but it's from Cotton Action Motor Step.
This was on a Humble Bundle, wasn't it?
This one's not. This one's not out yet. Steelstorm.
No. That's right. The prequel was on a Humble Bundle.
Yeah. That's where I got it. Well, actually, they finally sent me a whatever you call it. You run a Linux gaming website copy, and I played it before that. But looks like they got some vehicles in here. Now it looks like they're still using the Quake 3 engine just by looking at this with some cell shading, because that it does actually kind of remind me of ZEQ in the cell shading type graphics. Yeah,
that's what I was going to say.
So they're working on that.
But they're doing an Indiegogo.
They are
Indiegogo.com/Steelstorm2.
Not making much traction with that. Sad to say. We have 21 days left and $380 pledged out of a goal of 95,000.
Close to 100K. I don't know. That might be a bit unrealistic to hope for.
I don't see that one exactly coming to fruition, but it's there. Indiegogo, Steelstorm2 / all that fun stuff.
Maybe if they take it, maybe if it gets off the ground, it'll be called LinuxGameCast Presents Steelstorm2.
Yeah, what do you think? Maybe I should just give him 50 grand. Be generous.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Be generous. Hey, if anyone's getting 50 grand from you, it's me.
And all character players have to be just giant purple floppy wings. How about that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What if I could make that happen? That's going to wrap us up, man.
Yeah, that'll do it.
So we need to plug a few things before we get done, right?
Absolutely. You can check us out at linuxgamecast.com. You can check us out at live.linuxgamecast.com.
That's if you want. Oh, let's kick over to the chat room. Hello, chat room. They're watching us. Like I said, we're about an hour late, and that's really late for like people even on the East Coast, and everywhere else is stupid late in Europe. So anybody who's up,
I think it's stupid early in Europe, all things considered.
Just die. All right.
I don't die then. You know that.
That's right. But check this out, man. We got at the podcast, you can get all the fun stuff here. You can get our iTunes video SD feed, audio feed, video HD feed, all the fun stuff you want. Jump in our forums if you got something to talk about, some games, some news, and all that. Hit that submit button that we talked about earlier.
Indeed. Also, if you go back to the podcast section, you can check out our Amazon affiliate link that lets you do your regular Amazon shopping and let us get a little bit of a kick.
Click on that. We get a few shekels kicked our way, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Just go buy crazy if you want. You know, I'm not saying you should do this, but if you know the purchaser,
they have those really nice titanium sporks. I think you should buy like 3 dozen of them.
Yeah. Sneak into everyone and just make sure they have that set up as their Amazon thing, so we get a few bucks from that. We also have some PayPal donation options, right?
Yeah, you can give us a one-time donation of your choice, or you can give us about $3.50 a month.
About $3.50. That's all we need to keep bringing you this fantastic, highly produced, that we spend hundreds of hours on each week. Is there 100 hours in every week? I'm probably... to do every week.
Probably.
And if you really love us, I mean, like, genuinely love us, like, want to have our children.
And we will oblige that. Part of
Jordan's single, so you better watch it. He's serious.
No, yeah. No, if you click on that link for $10 a month, we will give you vials of our DNA that you can use to reproduce us. And have your own Linux Gamecast in your very own home.
Okay, that's probably, you just ended up killing our entire show, but that's it for this week, episode 21 Linux Gamecast. See you guys next week with some new Linux gaming news, reviews, and basically whatever the hell else we come up with. This has been Vinstone. You can always find me cleverly disguised on the Twitter. That's at Vinstone or plus Vinstone on the G+. And this fool, check him out.
Yeah, you can check me out at The Burning Fool on Twitter or just Jordan Svung on Google+. And I think that about wraps it up.
I think that wraps it up. And let's not forget our chat room. Everyone joining us live.
Unaccounted
we normally
for and
do this. That's right.
Say hello to the lovely people.
Is he a Christian single? No.
Well, if he's subscribing to Christian Mingle, maybe he's a Christian single.
A mingle Christian single. Hello, guys. We got a bit of a delay on the live stream, but we're just going to wave at the lovely people like we always do and cue that music.
Bye, guys.